For a franchise as important as Street Fighter, it's actually surprising that Capcom's never gone back and completely rebuilt the game that started all of it. I mean, over the years, we've seen remasters, collections, anniversary editions, and countless new entries. We've watched the series evolve from arcade cabinets to massive esports arenas. We've seen characters like Ryu all become some of the most recognizable faces in gaming history. Yet despite all the success, the original foundation of the franchise remains largely sort of untouched. And that's why rumors surrounding a potential Street Fighter remake continues to generate so much interest among, well, specifically fighting game fans. So first of all, to be clear, Capcom has not officially announced a Street Fighter remake. There is currently no confirmed project rebuilding the original game or Street Fighter 2 or 1 from the ground up. However, conversations about remakes are becoming increasingly common as Capcom continues investing heavily in its biggest franchise and openly discusses revitalizing classic properties through remakes, sequels, and of course modern re-releases. The reason the idea is so exciting, well, comes down to one simple fact. Most players know Street Fighter because of what it became. Very few, however, remember where it all started. The original game released in 1987 and introduced concepts that would eventually help define the entire fighting genre. Then Street Fighter 2 arrived and changed gaming forever. Arcades exploded in popularity, competitive gaming began taking shape, characters became icons, rivalries were born, entire generations grew up trying to master special moves and learn matchups. So a remake would offer an opportunity to revisit that moment with modern technology while preserving the spirit that made it special in the first place. Competitive gaming is bigger than ever, online tournaments dominate streaming culture, Evo became mainstream entertainment. Meanwhile, Street Fighter 6 proved that players still want stylish, character-driven fighting games with personality instead of just sterile realism. That personality is very important because Street Fighter has always been bigger than just combat mechanics. It is the atmosphere, the neon-lit streets, the crowded underground arenas, martial artists traveling the world searching for purpose, revenge, honor, or survival. That identity still feels timeless today, and visually, here's the thing, a remake could become unbelievable today. Like imagine the original Street Fighter 2 roster rebuilt with modern cinematic presentation while preserving the exaggerated arcade energy fans loved about it in the first place. That atmosphere alone could carry the entire experience. And importantly, the game should never lose its stylized identity chasing realism. That would just basically completely miss the point. Street Fighter worked because it feels larger than life. Fireballs exploding across screens, fighters moving with impossible speed, every character carrying a distinct visual style immediately recognizable even from a silhouette alone. A remake needs to preserve that energy at all costs, and honestly, Capcom already proved they understand exactly how to modernize old franchises without destroying their identity. The Resident Evil remakes balanced nostalgia and reinvention beautifully, and Street Fighter 6 itself became hugely praised for combining classic arcade spirit with modern visual technology. That trust matters, because fighting games fans are extremely protective of legacy franchises, especially Street Fighter. This series practically built modern competitive fighting culture itself. Arcades, tournaments, combo systems, rivalries, entire generation of gaming communities actually formed around these games. A remake cannot be or feel lazy. It needs confidence. And there are already signs Capcom's thinking much bigger about the Street Fighter brand overall. Between the continued expansion of Street Fighter 6, the upcoming live-action reboot film, the Capcom's public commitment to nurturing major franchises long-term, the company clearly sees the Street Fighter as one of its core pillars moving forward. That larger push makes remake speculation feel much more believable now, especially because the early games themselves deserve modernization. The original Street Fighter and even portions of Street Fighter 2 were pretty much limited heavily by arcade-era hardware. Character storytelling stayed minimal, world building remained mostly implied, stages were iconic visually but technologically simple. A remake needs to preserve that energy at all costs, and honestly, Capcom already proved they understand exactly how to modernize old franchises without destroying their identity. The Resident Evil remakes balanced nostalgia and reinvention beautifully, and Street Fighter 6 itself became hugely praised for combining classic arcade spirit with modern visual technology. That trust matters, because fighting games fans are extremely protective of legacy franchises, especially Street Fighter. This series practically built modern competitive fighting culture itself. Arcades, tournaments, combo systems, rivalries, entire generation of gaming communities actually formed around these games. A remake cannot be or feel lazy. It needs confidence. And there are already signs Capcom's thinking much bigger about the Street Fighter brand overall. Between the continued expansion of Street Fighter 6, the upcoming live-action reboot film, the Capcom's public commitment to nurturing major franchises long-term, the company clearly sees the Street Fighter as one of its core pillars moving forward. That larger push makes remake speculation feel much more believable now, especially because the early games themselves deserve modernization. The original Street Fighter and even portions of Street Fighter 2 were pretty much limited heavily by arcade-era hardware. Character storytelling stayed minimal, world building remained mostly implied, stages were iconic visually but technologically simple. A remake could expand all of that dramatically. The level of storytelling could make the world feel alive for its first time. And then there's also the combat. That is where things become really interesting. Modern fighting games evolved enormously over the last decade. Animation systems are now smoother, hit reactions feel more dynamic, online infrastructure became critical, accessibility improved without sacrificing high-level depth. A remake could combine all of that with classic Street Fighter pacing beautifully. Heavy impacts, clean spacing, fast footsies, every punch and kick carrying visible weight behind it. That rhythm is the soul of the franchise, because underneath all of the flashy supers and visual effects, Street Fighter has always been about tension, reading opponents, practicing movements, understanding rhythm better than the person standing across from you. That simplicity is just timeless. And obviously, once again, visually modern hardware could finally make fights look as dramatic as players always imagined them. Whatever we're imagining right now, that kind of presentation could make every match feel cinematic without slowing anything down. And honestly, the stages themselves could become characters as well. That's another thing modern remakes could finally expand properly. Busy Hong Kong streets glowing under neon lights, Brazilian jungle arenas shaking during storms, American military bases roaring with jet engines overhead, Japanese rooftops illuminated by city skylines stretching endlessly into the distance. Every stage should feel alive. Crowds reacting dynamically, music evolving during fights, weather shifting, whatever. Those atmospheres matter because Street Fighter has always carried this very strange mix of grounded martial arts and exaggerated global mythology. That identity still feels unique even now, and fans clearly remain deeply invested in where the series goes next. Online discussions surrounding future Street Fighter content constantly explode with speculation about returning characters, remakes, and broader Capcom crossover plans. That excitement never really faded, because Street Fighter means something bigger than just another fighting game. It represents generation, arcades packed with crowds watching matches, friends memorizing combos after school, competitive scenes growing from tiny communities into global events. And a remake would not just rebuild an old game, it would rebuild parts of gaming history itself. And honestly, modern audiences are ready for that now, more than ever. Especially because gaming itself has become nostalgic for its own roots recently. Street Fighter has the perfect foundation for that. Simple concept, legendary characters, timeless gameplay, endless style. That combination never really gets old. And standing across Ryu right now, another challenger, already waiting for the next round to begin.